Hey there, fellow shadow chasers. Imagine this. You're just 12, your hands still soft from dreaming of wildflowers. When your father's trembling fingers press a few tarnished coins into a stranger's palm, in that moment, your childhood doesn't fade, it shatters, traded away like last season's harvest. Today, we're plunging into the icy heart of late medieval Europe, the 1400s, where famine-scarred villages and booming trade cities hid a nightmare for countless girls, sold into brothels, not as villains, but as victims of a system that called itself necessary. From the smoke-choked huts of rural England to the licensed stews of London and the regulated lupanars of Florence, we'll trace the path of innocence bartered for survival. Expect gut-wrenching truths from forgotten ledgers, defiant whispers from court testimonies, and the faint glimmers of rebellion that dared to crack the chains. By the end, you will wonder, how did a world so pious let this hell flourish right under the church bells? And could echoes of it linger in our own shadows? If these raw, untold tales pull you deeper into the past, do me a solid, subscribe to the channel right now, smash that bell, and join our growing coven of curious souls. Let's step into the fog together. Picture it. It's the tail end of the 14th century, and Europe is still reeling from the Black Death's scythe. You've lost maybe a third of your neighbors to the plague. Not just bodies, but the hands that tilled fields, wove cloth, and kept hearths alive. The survivors. They're scraping by in a world where the 100 Years' War rages across France and England. Kings levy crippling taxes, and bad harvests turn bread to ash in your mouth. In rural hamlets, from the muddy lanes of East Anglia to the frost-bitten hills of Swabia, poverty isn't a word, it's a predator, gnawing at families until only bones remain. Historical records paint a brutal canvas. Take the manorial rolls from Essex, England, around 1420, documented by historians like Barbara Hannawalt in The Ties That Bound 1986. They tally families drowning in debt. A cow dies, a crop fails, and suddenly the Lord's bailiff is at your door, demanding arrears that could bankrupt a peasant household in a season. Women and girls bore the brunt. Widows with mouths to feed. Daughters in homes where the father's wages vanished into ale or war levies. It's no coincidence that church court depositions from Paris in the 1450s, as Ruth Cara's details in her seminal Common Women, overflow with tales of fallen girls whose families encouraged them toward the city for apprenticeships that were anything but. But let's make it real. Let's meet Elara, our guide through this gloom. She's not from one dusty archive, but a mosaic of souls like her. Inspired by the testimonies of girls in Dijon's 1458, brothel surveys where a staggering quarter of entrants were young women pressured by kin into the trade due to dire want, as chronicled in Leah Otis' Prostitution in Medieval Society, 1985. Elara's a slip of a girl, born around 1435 in a timber hovel outside Florence, where the Arno's floods have twice ruined the olive groves. Her father's a weaver, his loom silent since the plague took his journeyman. Mother's belly swells again, but the stew pot echoes empty. At 10, Elara's already hauling water from the communal well, her thin arms burning under pails that slosh like lead. Fetch more, lass, her DA mutters, his eyes hollow as the debts mount. 2 shillings to the moneylender, another to the tax collector for the Duke's endless wars. Rhetorical question for you. What would you do, huddled in that drafty hut, when the collector's shadow falls across the threshold. Lie, steal, or bargain with what little you have left. For Elara's family, it's the latter. Whispers spread through the village like plague fleas. The city brothels pay apprenticeship fees up front. Not for sin, mind you. The priests preach it's a necessary evil, echoing St. Augustine's ancient sigh that without harlots, lusts would overthrow society. In Florence, the city's own ordinances from 1415, preserved in the Archivio di Stato, licensed lupanars to keep order, funneling girls from the countryside to service the wool merchants and pilgrims swelling the streets. Elara's DA doesn't say it aloud, but when the procurer arrives, oiled beard, city boots glinting, he knows. A purse changes hands. 5 florins, enough for seed and a winter's grain. Elara, clutching a rag doll her mother sewed from scraps, doesn't understand. Not yet. As the cart jostles her toward the city gates, the air thickens with wood smoke and the tang of the tanneries. Florence's walls loom, a promise of stone and spires. But for Elara, it's the gateway to a descent she can't yet fathom. Hang on, because what comes next? It's the transaction that turns a child into a commodity, and it hits harder than any famine. Jump to that fateful market day in 1447. The piazza buzzes. Vendors hawk figs and bolts of dyed wool, while the church bells toll vespers, a mocking reminder of divine watchfulness. But in the shadowed alleys off the Via Larga, another trade hums the flesh markets, tacitly ignored by the podesta's guards. Here, procurers, like the one who claimed Elara haggle, not over livestock, but lives. Historical ledgers from Toulouse's municipal archives, analyzed in Emma Magin's thesis, Medieval Prostitution in Secular Law 2012, reveal the mechanics. Girls as young as 11 or 12, indentured for terms of 5 to 7 years, their fee alone against future earnings. Families got the cash. The girls got a ledger entry under debt. This wasn't chaos. It was commerce, cloaked in regulation. In London, the 1393 ordinances for the Southwark stews, as recorded in the calendar of close rolls, mandated brothels be kept honest by city-appointed keepers, with girls required to be freeborn, a cruel joke, since poverty stripped that freedom first. Paris had its own Chambre des Filles, a grim registry where entrants like 13-year-old Agnes in 1462. Her story survives in the chatelet. Court records were logged with clinical detachment, age, origin, indenture. Some, Agnes's father, a ruined vintner, took 12 deniers. She got a ragged kirtle and a straw pallet. Florence, even more brazen. The 1403 statutes, per Jean Brucker's Florence, the Golden Age, allowed the Opera del Duomo to lease brothel spaces, turning holy tithes into profane profits. Elara's auction unfolds in whispers. The procurer, a wiry Tuscan named Gino, drawn from the composite of bawds in Florentine notarial acts, tugs her toward a Bacali tavern, the air reeking of sour wine and unwashed wool. 12 summers, legs like a doe, eyes like chestnuts, 5 florins, and I'll throw in the dress. Her da haggles down to 4.5, his voice cracking like dry timber. No notary, no witnesses, just a handshake and a girl's fate sealed. Elara's mother slips her a locket, a sliver of silver, with Mary's face, murmuring, "Pray, child, it ends someday." But does it? As Gino marches her through the gates, past gawking apprentices and pious matrons who cross themselves, Elara feels the shift from daughter to debt. What if she ran? Oh, the what-ifs, haunt these stories. Court records from NTD Lingen, Germany in 1471 show stories of runaways like the maid Els, who was dragged back, bloodied and torn, only to face punishment. Gino warns Elara on the road, "Bolt and the watch finds you." Worse than the whip waits. By dusk, the brothel stands at the city's edge, a low stone building with barred windows. Its sign a faded rose above a door that swings ominously. Inside, the madam, a scarred widow called Mira, echoing the sharp-eyed keepers in Parisian roles, tallies Elara's startup, 2 florins for the dress, 1 for the bowl, half for training, debt for florins, already, earnings, hers to repay, at rates that ensure she never climb out. Suspense builds here, doesn't it? You've seen the trade. Now, what awaits beyond that door? A life of ledgers and lashes, where every breath costs a copper. But we'll ease in, first, the breaking, the rules that grind spirits to dust. Dawn cracks over Florence like a reluctant thief, and Elara's first week is a blur of acclamation, the brothel's polite word for breaking. Myra's domain, the Rose and Thorn, houses 12 girls, ages 12 to 25, in a warren of rooms off a central hall. Regulations demand cleanliness, weekly baths in a copper tub, linens changed monthly, per the 1415 city edicts. But theory crumbles against practice. The air slaps her with stale sweat, cheap tallow smoke, and the faint rot of despair. Straw pallets itch with vermin. The lavender sheets are gray rags, stiff with old stains. Daily life, a grind scripted by survival. Mornings, Elara sweeps the flagstones till her knees bruise. Hauls slop buckets to the midden chores logged as lessons, each adding to her tally. Afternoons, mending under Myra's knife-sharp gaze. Evenings, that's the shadow. From vespers to midnight, the hall fills farmhands with calloused palms and breath-like turnips. Merchants in velvet who quote Aquinas on moderation while fumbling laces. Up to 15 a night for the veterans, 3 to 5 for new blood, like a fees, a groat for a quick tumble, double for fancies. But every coin funnels through Myra's pudgy fingers, minus her cut. The house fee, charges for soap, a scrap, costs a penny. Bandages for the rough ones, even candle stubs. Eyewitness glimmers pierce the dark. Take the NTD Lingen uprising of 1471. Prostitutes' petitions to the town council. Preserved in the Staatsarchiv, describe beatings for disrespect, whips carving fire into skin, as one girl deposed. Or Dijon's 1458 surveys, girls like Jamilani, trafficked at 14, servicing widowers and travelers, while the keeper pocketed 70% of earnings. Elara's first client, a wool trader from Siena, reeking of horse and hypocrisy. He doesn't ask her name, just grips her wrist till it blooms purple. The pain, it doesn't bleed, but it scars the soul. Afterward, she curls on her pallet, listening to the muffled sobs from adjoining rooms. The laughter that turns to gags. Sleep evades her. Why rest when dawn brings the ledger? Emotional beats hit hard here. Was it always hell? Not quite. Subtle bonds formed. Older girls like Rosa, a 20-year-old from the Veneto, with a limp from a disobedient night, share crusts of bread and tales of home. We endure, Piccolina Rosa whispers one night, braiding Elara's hair, and we watch for the crack in their armor. Inspired by real networks in London stews, where girls pooled coppers for a smuggled midwife or a hidden blade, but defiance. Risky. Elara sees it once, a girl named Livia, caught filching a client's purse, dragged to the courtyard for 20 lashes. The rod whistles. The crowd of girls averts eyes. Lesson learned. Questions cost skin. Yet, in the quiet hours, Elara's mind wanders. What if she slipped out during market day? Or befriended a guard? The suspense coils, because for some, that what if became what was. But first, the true devil, the debt that devours hope. Ah, the ledger, the brothels, black heart, a vellum beast that grows fatter while its prey starves. Myra's book, bound in cracked leather, isn't just accounting, it's a weapon. Every transaction etched. Client pays 6 pence. Elara earns 3, but Myra deducts to 4. Room, 1 for wine, half for protection. By week's end, Elara's debt swells, not shrinks. Can you believe it? Back in the 1350s in Toulouse, keepers were charging crazy prices, triple the market rate for basic necessities. According to Magin's research, academic deep dives confirm it. Caras, common women, sifts, York court rolls. 80% of prostitutes lived in perpetual indenture. Their freedom a mirage 5 years distant. In Paris, the 1460s Parliament records show girls like 15-year-old Margot, whose family debt of 20 sous ballooned to 50 in 2 years. Fees for illness, a flux from rough handling, and fines for low nights. Elara feels it acutely. After a month, her page reads, original 4.5 florins, plus 2 for a fever, no doctor, just herbs, 1.5 for a torn shift. Earnings, 12 groats total, net 0 after cuts. How? She dares ask Myra once, voice a thread. The answer, silence, then the rod, 5 lashes across her back, leaving welts like branded runes. Clients vary, adding layers to the torment. The farmhand, with dirt nails and gentle hands, paying with a stolen apple. The noble in silk, demanding poetry mid-act, leaving bruises as tips. Everyone joined in. Pilgrims heading to Rome, and clerks skipping confession. 15 Florentine statutes decreed. Brothels were public service, taxed at 10% to fund walls against Turks. Piety's price, girls as scapegoats. Better them than wives, as Aquinas echoed Augustine. But cracks appear. Elara bonds with Rosa, who shares a forbidden what-if. The sisters at Santa Maria take repentance. One bolt at curfew, suspense thrums. Will they try? Historical parallels abound. In Avignon's 1450s PayPal records, a girl named Catherine escaped her keeper, only to be recaptured and re-educated with chains. Yet others slipped free, vanishing into nunneries or marriages to sympathetic artisans. For Elara, the turning point brews in a whispered pact as the city's Reformation winds begin to howl. By 1452, Elara's 14, her eyes hardened like flint. The rose and thorn chafes. Rumors swirl of the new bishop cracking down on moral cesspools. It's the era's undercurrent, the late medieval pushback. In Southwark, 1450 ordinances limited keepers' exploitation, mandating fair shares, per the London letterbooks. Florence sees petitions, girls demanding audits of ledgers, echoing Nördlingen's 1471 revolt, where 7 prostitutes stormed the council, deposing abuses in tear-streaked detail. Els, the maid who sparked it, testified. He beat us for smiles, not bright enough, sold our very breaths. Elara's rebellion, subtle, born of desperation. With Rosa, she skims coppers, to hear, one there, burying them in the garden, under a rosebush. inspired by real escapes in Dijon's surveys, where 10% of girls vanished via smuggled notes to kin or church. One moonless night, as a storm lashes the tiles, they slip out, heart pounding. Elara clutches her locket, dodging patrols. Rosa falters, twisted ankle, but a baker's widow, moved by Elara's plea, a nod to charitable accounts in Brucker's Florence, hides them. Dawn finds them at Santa Maria Novella, pounding the convent door. The sisters, tutting over reformed Magdalens, take them in laundry duty for absolution. Not all triumph. Rosa's caught weeks later, her back a map of welts. She vanishes from records, likely to a pauper's grave, but Elara, she scribes her tale in fragments, preserved in spirit by the 1480s Dominican ledgers of penitent women. Broader reforms crest by the 1520s. Luther's firestorms close municipal stews across Germany and England, deeming them Satan's nurseries. France follows. Avignon's papal brothels shuttered in 1560. Yet echoes persist, unregulated shadows in alleys. Poverty's eternal lure. What a ride, right? From hut to hell, bargain to bolt. These girls weren't just survivors. They were sparks in the powder keg of change. And there we stand, dear shadow chasers, at the brothel's threshold once more, but now with eyes wide to its truths. In the 1400s cruel calculus, poverty traded girls like Elara, not for vice, but viability, a necessary evil that padded city coffers while priests preached containment. From Dijon's debt-drowned daughters to Nördlingen's bold uprising, these stories pulled from ledgers, depositions, and bones unearthed in Belgian dirt reveal a world where innocence was collateral, yet resilience, a quiet revolution. Reforms came, slow as dawn, but they remind us, systems built on suffering crack under the weight of the suffered. But let's linger on the mysteries. Could those ledgers hide more? Networks of escaped women founding secret guilds? Or was the church's complicity deeper? Tithes from thorns funding cathedrals? And the big one, hitting close, in our world of hidden debts and desperate migrations, how far are we from such trades? What necessary evils do we tolerate today? Ponder that in the comments below. Share your thoughts, your own historical haunts. Did Elara's spark light a fire in you? If this journey moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more adventures into the past. Until next time, keep chasing those shadows. They just might lead you to the light.